Hello, everyone. Welcome to our soft launch of our new podcast, Strip Naked, where we are going to be having real and raw conversations about rebuilding your career and business in 2026. I am one of your hosts, June Colarusso, career strategist, former Meta and Google recruiter, and content creator. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to my co-host, who I know for almost about 2 months, but I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marissa San Martin, and I am a premium UGC creator strategist. And the way, we'll go into it a little bit further, is I used to work for Meta as well. I used to manage global programming for the B2B side, and Samsung Field Manager, where actually my passion for training came, and how this has kind of evolved into what we are here today.
Yes, so thank you so much. And my phone is ringing. I should turn the phone off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I haven't done a live in a long time. I see my former coworker in the comments. Hello, Jackie. We really wanted to start this podcast because I know that we are entering in this new world of technology. We wanted to start off by sharing a little bit of our story and how we met. Let us know where you're tuning in from and what you're looking forward to this conversation. But Marissa and I have both worked at the same company at Meta, but only crossed paths up until 6 weeks ago. Marissa, do you want to share a little bit more about how we met?
Yeah. So we were on a community call for in a UGC community that we both joined to learn more about UGC. And June went to ask a question, and the leader of the UGC platform that we're in, Sydney Money, well, shout out to her right there. We met, and she said, I used to work for Meta. And she's like, hold on. Marissa, one of my coaches, also used to work at Meta. And it literally, like, my ears went up, and I'm like, oh, who else worked at Meta? And simultaneously, I went to LinkedIn to do a connection, because my corporate mindset is like, that's the best way to connect. And June went right into my Slack to send me a quick DM for us to connect. And we did a quick networking session maybe a week later. And 10 minutes in, it's like history. It's kind of evolved into this big thing here, which it's funny when you meet somebody, you just click. It just kind of instantly happened. We forgot to introduce ourselves in a way. We kind of just went in and started sharing information. Hi, Vince. And we started sharing information. And actually, earlier this week, June was telling me something about her family. And I'm like, hold on, wait, I need to know the ages of your children. And I was like, we've known each other for only 6 weeks. And it's like, but I feel like we've known each other for so long. Right, June?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like it was business bestie and soulmate at first glance or meeting. I want to say hi to Vince. He's also a former Meta mate. He is tuning in from Seattle. I talked to Vince about this podcast, so he's going to definitely be one of our future guests because he's also a career coach. Well, yeah, isn't that kind of wild that we've only known each other for 4 to 6 weeks, but we talk to each other every day?
Every day we have tons of voice notes that go back and forth between each other. And it's just different ideas. And it's like how we view pivoting into this new realm, essentially, because I think together combined, we have over like 40 years of corporate life,
Damn, are you aging us for 40 years?
I'm saying combined.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Combined. Yes.
So okay. It's just like how we've been modeled to go into corporate and find that job, and now into this new realm where, layoffs are happening and it is taking place. And it's like how we pivoted and how we went to find this new path and tap into our creative side. Because one thing that really connected us is that when you are in corporate, you're following somebody else's dream, somebody else's vision,
Hmm.
following your own. And then when I tapped into UGC, I'm like, oh, wait, I have control. I'm in the car seat. Like, I'm the one that's in the wheel and choosing who I work with, how I present myself, and move forward. So it's just like, it's glorious to go into it, but you actually have to look behind the curtain, because when you're seeing on LinkedIn, what you're seeing on Instagram, on TikTok, it's what, 10 minutes of your life in a day, maybe. You're not seeing the countless emails, the pulling of the hair, the, like, what am
Right.
I doing in the messy middle, to be able to succeed. Because people will see, it's like, oh, in UGC right now, you see a lot of creators saying, I made $10,000, and you're sitting there like, how? Especially
Hmm.
if you're starting, you don't understand how you do that, and it takes time. It takes time to build. Like, you know, everybody says Rome wasn't built in a day. Your
But not.
career is
Hmm.
not built in a day. It takes time to build that. And that's something that we're going to uncover by interviewing creators, entrepreneurs, professionals, of like what the messy middle feels like, how you can actually involve and stand for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's talk about the messy middle
Okay.
and how we came about to doing this career pivot. So I'll share a little bit more about my story, and then you can share yours. So, as probably a lot of people know, here in my LinkedIn community, I spent the majority of my tech career recruiting for top tech companies and startups. And I was able to land my dream company and role at Meta back in 2021. That was the absolute like highlight of my career. That was where I was working towards. Got rejected from Meta multiple times and finally was able to land a role in 2021. In a dream role, actually, something that I'm really passionate about is building inclusive teams, focusing on diversity, inclusive hiring practices. And then unfortunately, that was stripped away last year when there was a reorg, right? I could talk about this publicly because it's everywhere. And that's when I realized that my core values were no longer aligned with my so-called dream company, right? So then when I lost my job in November, December, I did have an offer lined up for another recruiting role. But something in me just, it didn't feel right, right? I didn't feel right coming from working at Meta. I didn't know what that next dream company was going to look like. And then because I took a pause and I took a trip to the Philippines with my family, it helped me reconnect myself to my roots and my passions. And I ultimately decided that, oh, that next big dream is my dream, my business, my career on my own terms. So now we're me and Marissa, you can speak for yourself, Marissa. We're in a situation where we're building multiple streams of income different ways. We are building a portfolio or compartmental career by focusing on the projects and the type of work that leans on our strengths. For me, it's career coaching, content creation, um, and yeah, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to share this journey with the community here. Take it away, Marissa. If you want to share your story, it's very similar.
Yeah, it is very similar, but I'm actually going to take it one step back before I even got to Meta. Was I actually got a job working for Samsung, and I was a field trainer, and it wasn't something that I I thought I wanted, and it's where I fell in love with training and coaching people. Because when I was going into these stores, this was when Samsung was not the biggest dog in the room at all. Apple was, and I'm going into T-Mobile's, AT&T's, Verizon locations and talking to people about the devices. And when I started seeing people click and understand how Samsung and Android could solve a customer's problem, and seeing sales go up because of my training, is like when I fell in love, teaching people on that. Then an opportunity came to work for Meta as a contractor versus internally. And it was very similar, and it was essentially building a program with brand ambassadors and teaching them the product that Meta sold. So we're talking like at that point it was called the Oculus, not the Quest. We also had the Portal, which I loved that product. And then what is now called Meta Ray Bans. So we were also showcasing that. And it was during like the thick of 2020. We were supposed to be live like globally, and we had to pivot to do online trainings and teaching brand ambassadors on how to connect with people and answer their questions without having the physical product, like because a lot of people learn with touching and experiencing it, and they had to do it virtually. And that was an experience, and I loved it. And it was me again training people, making sure that the dots connected, and be able to have them also train others along the way. And that was like a dream job because I was helping people globally essentially talk about Meta and their products. And a reorg took place, and that contract ended, but it actually led me to a different position within Meta, and I was hired internally in 20 March of 23. And it was like a moment that I had. I was like, oh my God, am I going to really working for Meta? Like, is this even real? And when I got the position, I was going to be helping the B2B sector. And essentially, it was going to be the same role, but instead of going and speaking to consumers, I'll be speaking to businesses and how they can incorporate the product line from Meta into their companies and selling it and so forth. And that was a wild ride. 2 years in, it's like it expanded me in ways that I never even imagined. Like we introduced at that point, Quest was switched from Oculus to Quest. Then we switched Oculus for Business into Meta Horizon Managed Solutions. And I was able to build a learning platform for our partners globally to log into it. And I was in love with it. It did push me a lot. And because of that push, it like expanded the way that I came across. So when I was laid off last year because of a reorg, I'm not gonna lie, I was heartbroken by it all because it was like there was so much left to do, and it was like it was just taken away. So I had to repivot. I'm not gonna lie, I had to lick my wounds a little bit because I couldn't understand much, which happens to a lot, and you have to sit in it. And I always tell people you have to sit in that because you can't move forward otherwise. And I went down the traditional route of wanting to reapply for corporate, but it just felt wrong. Like it just didn't feel right. And I was in an interview, a final round interview, and I had to prepare a case study, essentially, and present it to the company. And the VP jumps into the call. And the conversation didn't go as smoothly as I wanted to. They came a little bit hard and a little bit rude in the call, essentially, which turned me off because I was like, if you're treating me like this and I'm not even working for you, I can just imagine what the culture is probably like, and I don't want to be invested in that. And that's when I ended the call. I called the recruiter. I was like, hey, please take my name off of this list because I'm no longer moving forward. And that same night is when I committed to learning about UGC and buying the program that I'm in and starting my creative career and wanting to help people build from the ground up, because it's like so many people have potential, but they only feel like it's one funnel and going to corporate. If corporate is what you want to do, then great, that's awesome. But if you feel like you're just stuck and you just want to spread your wings and fly, hey, there's other ways of doing it. So that's my quick little story, but not so quick.
Not so quick, but very impactful. I love that. But what I love about your story and our stories that are of similar background to it is we are not essentially starting from scratch.
No.
And this is how we bonded, is we technically are taking our combined 40 plus years of experience in the corporate world and taking bits and pieces of it. For me, it's like I always loved branding when it comes to employer branding,
Mhm.
personal branding. What I love about recruiting is I love the coaching aspect, right? Bringing out my candidates' highlights, how I'm able to kind of unearth their strengths and superpowers through the interview prep, through their resume, through their LinkedIn. I also love advocating for them when I'm presenting these candidates in the front of a panel of engineering directors, right? It's me essentially utilizing my branding skills, taking the candidate with me, telling a little bit about their journey and why I
Mhm.
feel like they're a great fit for the companies I'm working for, and vice versa. I'm essentially the employee ambassador selling the culture of the company, the employer branding to my candidate. So for me, I'm picking projects such as UGC, content creation and coaching, that's going to blend that 20 plus years of experience into I'm an elder millennial, okay? Into this new career path where I'm actually building a business and career of my dreams. And now I'm excited about working on different projects. I'm excited that I get to pick and choose what I want to work on, and I'm able to still make an impact on people's careers and lives. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Is it easy? No, nothing new is easy, right? But that's how we learn, is like we're kind of doing this messy and we're learning from it, and whatever failures and mistakes that we are going to encounter, it's going to make us a better career and business professional. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I'm 100% aligned with you. Like what I love about this new path that I'm taking is that I love strategizing and project planning and getting into it. So it's like when a brand is like, "Hey, this is the solution that I want to go with. This is the customer like avatar that we're going with." And I'm like, "Okay, so what are the misses? Are we looking like top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom? Like where are we looking about it?" And when a company talks to me like that, I'm like, "Yes, this is who I want to work with," because then we can strategize and build it together. And then I have the creative freedom of building it into a 30 to 45-second video, which, mind you, it does not take 2 minutes to create because there's a lot behind it. And this is one thing that we'll talk about in one of our episodes is like what UGC is and like how intricate it is. And like, you're just not making silly videos. There's marketing behind it. There's strategy behind it. There's, you're filming and you have the way you cut, because the UGC creator is doing all of that behind the scenes. So that is what I love. And then when I became the UGC creator, I was missing the training aspect. So becoming a coach to train people to become UGC was kind of like the icing of the cake. To me, it's like, and that's when I came to June and I was like, "Hey, I've been sitting on this podcast idea for a while. Do you want to co-host?"
Well, you kind of strategically planted a seed, and you talked about, oh, there was this podcast that I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, I used to do LinkedIn Lives, and I also was working on a podcast, but never launched. And the more you told me about it, I was like, oh, do you need a co host? And you're like, that's what I was alluding to. Yes. And it just made sense. And I just love that we're documenting this in real time. And I think a lot of people, let's like wrap it up with this topic. It's the IG reel that I shared with you,
Mhm.
about, everyone's talking about how AI is replacing all of these jobs, right?
Mhm.
Especially those jobs that have those mundane tasks. And the way that AI is being incorporated into companies' business plan and workflow is impacting the way we look at job titles, the
Yeah.
way we look at hiring, right? The way we look at AI is not going anywhere. How are we going to make the best of it, right? And I think for us, like me and you, we're using it as a core skill to lean on, to be more efficient when it comes to content creation, to coaching, to so many different workflows that we're doing. We're leveraging those AI tools in fluency just to be a better professional and be more efficient with our time. So I feel like what you and me are modeling right now is we're not, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to like corporate 100% cookie cutter 9 to 5. I think we're going into a skill based economy where people are going to be hired for their skills versus the job titles on their resume. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really aligned with that, especially with how, like, when videos started, like these reels started coming out, and people are actually monetizing off of it and being strategic, because no one wants to see an ad that is like the perfect family. No one's perfect. We all know this. When you're looking, clicking on the ad, what you're clicking is the emotion and the fact that you relate to the person who's behind it. So that is a skill that that person has that they're selling. I do feel that AI is going to enhance our jobs, and help us, like you said, be more proficient and better aligned. Will some jobs be replaced by it? Yes. You know, like the mundane ones, the ones that are very like technical and here and there. Yes, but they're not all going to be replaced with it. The ones that need that human touch, they're never going to be replaced, because you can actually tell there's no emotion. AI doesn't know how to feel. It lacks empathy. It doesn't feel anger. It doesn't know all of those things. So that's where the human touch will come into it. It'll just make our jobs better and be able to connect with people and make the message land. That's how I feel about it. There's so much, it's so evolving. AI is such a big topic that to even touch it now is like a fraction of the conversation.
Right, right,
But I do feel that it is something that we need to lean on and accept it and adapt with it. We don't want to be left behind, because
right.
to catch up to it is going to be a marathon before you get to
Yeah,
where you go.
exactly. You want to kind of figure out how it could work in your favor,
Yeah.
right? Well, great. Well, this was a great conversation as our intro. I do want to plug in. We are working on having our logistics in order as far as our podcast show, like Spotify page. But right now, you can follow us on Instagram, Strip Naked Podcast. This is a soft launch. We're actually going to be doing LinkedIn live streams during our lunch break every Tuesday. Do we agree with 12 o'clock?
Yeah. We're good at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing this up until our launch, which is going to be in June.
Yes. In June.
Yes. Okay. June. So please follow along on our Instagram, and then yeah, our oops, that's something different. Sorry, that's the podcast I never launched. But yeah, our podcast is going to be launching in June. But thank you so much for being part of our conversation, and we will see you next week. Any last words?
No, I was super nervous getting into this call, and you made it very easy. So thank you all, and we will see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.